Hi guys, welcome to another video of Nu-Trix the Synth Guy, and today we're talking about Synth Anthology 3 from UVI. Well, I have already talked about UVI software in the past, about their Vintage Vault 3 and the Falcon synth sampler playback software, which is really powerful. The Synth Anthology 3 is interesting because it does, well, it's the third version, so there's more synth in it. If you're looking for a list of great sounding synthesizers that are just fun to play with some control over it, you're at the right place with UVI. In the case of the Synth Anthology 3, I'll show you how it works, and we'll talk about the sounds and you'll listen to how it works. But the logic behind it is you don't want the actual synthesis of these original synthesizers. You don't want the ARP 2600 architecture. You want the sound of it. So they sample some of it and they give you control over general features of the synthesizer. Powerful enough to create your own stuff. But it doesn't give you the control over the original synthesizer, which is fine because basically you don't have to learn new synthesizers. You just need to load sounds. It's a sample. And then there's synthesis on top of it, so you can tweak it. And you've got great, they're great sounds. The team behind this that sampled and prepared the patches are just really efficient in what they're doing. Everything sounds great and it's inspiring. I just load it and you want to play right away with it. They've got more than 3,000 patches. They sampled more than 132 hardware synthesizers. So the list is pretty interesting. And what's cool about this is that it's not just vintage synthesizers, it's a synth anthology. So it's also recent or more recent synthesizers like the DeepMind and the Casios. And I'm just looking at other names here. Of course, you've got even the Waldorf Pulse, the Teenage Engineering, the OP1, OPZ. So there's, recent stuff and System 100 stuff, older stuff. So it's just like the wealth of option is surprisingly wide. Well, let's go. Let's try it out. So the Workstation software is very simple. You can load your sounds. And if you have, I've got the whole Vintage Vault 3. I've got the whole thing here. But what I want to listen to today is the Synth Anthology 3. And you have these general or big banks, and in each of them you've got smaller section like arpeggiated, motion, and sequence. These are these sounds and classic analog, and they're listed in groups or categories of types of sound, not by synthesizer. So you say, I'm looking for a keyboard sound. Well, here are the list of the keyboard sound. Then in the name, you might have an idea of what it is, or not at all. Like OB, well, it's going to be Oberheim something, and the Matrix, well, it's going to be the Oberheim Matrix. If you click on it, double click, you load the sample, you get a graphic showing you the sound that you're using, and then you have the sound. The graphic itself, the user interface, is the same for all the different synthesizers. So you get the top section here, edit, effect, and ARP. This is part of the workstation. It's there for all of the sounds. You've got oscillator, the one you're in, edit, steps, LFO, effects, and an arpeggiator. So let's go back to oscillator. You've got two options here. The first one, you can turn it on and off. This is no sound. So you hear this one. So this is a sample of the Oberheim Matrix 6. I used to own one of those. That's a cool thing to have. And you have the sub. Sub is another sound, of course, usually under the original one. And in this case, you have different waveform you can play with. And again, now they're listed by name. So you want a Moog Mini, and you've got these pulse. You've got the Oberheim, well, you've got these different sawtooth and square and pulse waves. So these are more of the raw sounds, If you close this, you only have this. So if you want to do synthesis, well, you can use this, and then with the envelopes here, that's for the sub, We have effects. Let's turn them off for now so you hear the original sound. So if you want to do some synthesis, you can have these raw sounds sampled from these classic analog or digital synthesizers also. You even have the ESQ1, emulator, Nord lead, VZ and CZ, and analog, and just the waveforms. So it's quick to just create something more of a synth sound if you want. And you've got the filter. Can we have it on this thing? We should be able to have it. But that's it. That's kind of how you get, into it. You've got the amplitude. You got two here. The main, which is a sample. The sub, which is also a sample with a different sound. And you've got control over the velocity for this. Velocity controls the attack time, the filter, the off, so no filter, low pass, band pass, and high pass. And you have the same thing for the two of them. So you can create a little synth of two different sounds. And then we go back here. Okay. Then in the edit section, you can control the pitch. Again, main and sub have the same control. The only difference is this here can be unison, so all the notes will be played at once, or off, so you have separate notes you can play. It can be monophonic, polyphonic, semitone, the time. That's for the monophonic glide. You get the bend. You have the depth. At the bang and when it starts. You can type, double tap, and enter the value you want. You've got the octave. You have the spread, left and right. Oh, something interesting. Let me load another sound. So let's turn off the effects so you hear the clearer sound. Oscillator, edit. You've got the spread. One thing you have is spread. You have color. Press alternate, it will actually spread left, right, left, right, left, right. Same thing with this one. You can keep one off, and one that alternates. Every time you press a key, it goes left to right, left to right. And you go off, mono, or wide. That's it. You can detune. Go uni is that. This is just a cool way to give more sound or color to your sound right away. So this, again, is for all the sound that are part of the Synth Anthology. You've got always the same interface. You have vibrato, you can turn on, tremolo, filter, control, for the modulation wheel, and the drive. So right now we've got mostly vibrato over here. Okay, let's pick another sound just to see. Go LFO. We hear, okay? That's my LFO sound. You have the LFO square being sent to the filter. Slow and fast. Okay? Well, you also have the step. Let's send it to, the volume. I'm going to turn this one off. So that we hear. Okay? This can be sent to the volume, the filter cutoff, the filter resonance, and the drive amount. And it's good for the sub or for the main separately. So again, you can create still a lot of movement, even if it's not the original controls. And this is good for every Anthology interface. It's always the same interface. LFO, same logic, same destination, but it's an LFO, 4 different shapes. And the speed, it can be retriggered, no triggered, or legato. You've got the effects. You've got an equalizer, a spark verb, which is very clean, very nice. You have the delay, you've got a phaser, which is pretty cool. You've got a torus effect, you've got a drive. I'm just adding too much stuff at one point. You don't hear the stuff. And we still have the step modulator here. And we have a bit crusher for those who like me, noisy stuff. So that's cool. And the last one, I'm going to turn off the step for now so we hear the sound itself. And we have the Arpeggiator. Arpeggiator is, there's actually, which cool is you have two of them. One for the main, one for the sub. And it can go up and down. Again, you can, design what it does. And in this case, you got to control it with the gate. Let's actually turn it on. So this represents velocity, where it is. And it goes an octave, 2 octave higher. Steps. Amount of steps, the speed, and the gate. We're going to play only the 2 first steps. You see, that's velocity. Okay, and then you get the bass. That's pretty cool. Just by itself, it's a cool synth. The arpeggiator part of it, the edit, the step, the LFO, all of that makes it a very potent synthesizer by itself. So it's just fun to play with. Now, where this is really shining is where you actually go in and say, okay, I'm looking for, vector synthesis type of sound, and I want ethereal sound. Okay, double click, and then you've got. So these comes from the wave station. So they sampled it, and then you've got, again, all these controls you can play with, and it gives them more life to it. So it's pretty cool. So right now I'm in I don't really know when I look at, WS, you say, well, it's a wave station. So all of these are wave station. Then you've got the Prophet waves, vector synthesis, Prophet VS. Let's go back. Let's try additive. Well, additive, you're going to have the K5, which I still have one here in the rack mount. The K5. So if you want to have these, that's a K5000. And again, you've got the control of everything else you want to change. But I mean, the cool thing is you just go in and say, well, I want something for polysynth. Okay, here we go. So that's the sound of the sample they did. And you don't even have the sub here. Turn on the sub. You have this, which you didn't have there, Let's try something else. Let's say you also have samplers. Let's say leads. So you have samplers. They use the sounds from the emulator too. This is like reacting well. And the load time is quick. I'm right now loading off an external hard drive in USB 2, which is a normal, not a SSD drive, just a normal old-fashioned disk drive. And you see the load time, it's fairly quick. So I mean, I like moving through, especially the classic analog. Let's say I want to go leads, and then you've got that's always fun. Studio Electronics. And they react well. Keep in mind, you've got all the synthesis to play with it after. So I'm in lead mode, so all of these are lead. And then at one point you can kind of guess what these are, all Jupiter 8. Okay. So you know that this sync sound is not synthesis. It was in the original sound. So this, in this case, is just a sample of a sync sound. So you have these amazing sounding synthesizer you can play with, and you don't even have to, you don't need to own them, you don't need a space for them, and you don't even have to learn to make sound with them. You just can load the sounds and play with them. So I like the sound. They did a good job in selecting the right sounds and make it sound. It's just like fun to play. All of them, they're just like cool. I mean, they did a great job. Let's try another one. And then you've got the modern analog. Let's say leads. What's the ADR? Oh, Andromeda. Oh, this is just massive. This is cool. Pretty cool. The quality of the samples, the choices they made, I approved this, and I think it's going to be something I'm going to go back when I just, I need something good, quick, and I don't want to create my own stuff. Because, of course, I like to create my own stuff. But sometimes you're not in the mood of taking half an hour to create, especially the sound you want, and you can just like pick one and play. So this is pretty cool. And the list is a lot. You've got 3,000 and more samples. You see here 3,500 and plus presets, 132 hardware synth. It's just a cool list to play with. So that's it. If you're into a very good sounding, quick to have access, and still have control over tweaking it, your arpeggiator is pretty cool. The step modulator also is pretty awesome. And the fact you can combine these subs from different synthesizers to the sample from the other one, pretty awesome. The only thing I would like to have is when you're in this, let's say you're into, I don't know, this sound here. I would like to have the option of changing this one. Just click on it and loading another, like you have here. I would like to have this here. To say, well, I want to create my own patch. I want to have the, the pad sound or the, sample sound from, I don't know, the Moog or the Andromeda, whatever it is. So that would be kind of the one thing I would like to have, because I'm a synth guy. I like to create more. And I find it kind of odd to not knowing how to pick these sounds outside of just picking the presets. But that's me. Outside of this is pretty awesome. And CPU-wise, it's not really demanding. If you looked at the video, if you watch the video again and look at the bottom, the CPU usage is always very low. Happening for this, so pretty cool. That's it. If you like what I'm doing, thumb up, share it with your friends, click the notification bell, and follow me also online on my other platform. I'm on YouTube, of course. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I also have my Nu-Trix.com website. And, if you have a question, ask away. And that's it, guys. Stay safe and make more music. Cheers.